advice to help you achieve your goals. And you know what? That free money really helped a lot of photographers, just like you. It gave you guys, and even low interest loans, which are also absolutely fantastic. I mean, where there's no, barely any interest or the government subsidizing it. Those are fantastic as well. And so many photographers took advantage, and it was absolutely genius. And I feel like, you were one of the smart ones that took advantage of it, Jane. So now investing in your portfolio, how do you feel like now you've invested quite a bit in your portfolio? How is that going to pan out to connecting the portfolio that you created, which we've been looking at, to the connections with the opportunities? And I understand you already landed some big jobs, right?
Not really, not yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're working on landing some big opportunities, and you're marketing to get there for 2022. Those 5 to 6 major jobs.
Some
right?
great feedback from people.
Yeah.
Went to the Boulevard Artist in LA, and I really felt very comfortable, and these people were very interested. So these are people that I'm going to be following up with. Excellent. I have already followed up with them, but I'll just keep on them.
Yeah, and you know what, Jane, one of the things that I'm personally going to recommend to you is that although having an agent can be really beneficial, a photographer like yourself is such a good personality. You have such a positive energy, and you're so likable and easy to talk to that you personally need to be following up with people, because you need to use your personality as one of your biggest assets. It's not just your work, because you have great work. A lot of photographers do, but you have great work. Amazing portfolio, but it's your personality that really takes it to another level. Because a lot of times people think about not just the photography, they also want to know who this photographer is. Do they want to spend time with them on set? And by the way, this is some of Jane's work that she shot at the masterclass, a World War II vintage fashion shoot that we did in Camarillo, California. We just did this a few months back, and this was at the Elite Masterclass. And this is incredible to see this featured on Ad Edge, and unbelievable content, massive scale production here, to have these vintage 1940s fighter jets, to having unbelievable top models, world-class top styling, and to see you getting all these incredible images featured. Really, really impressive, Jane.
Thank you. I loved that shoot. I loved the masterclass. It was amazing.
Well, you knocked the socks off of me. I was really impressed at what you're able to create. I mean, just image after image of iconic images. I mean, this really, really makes a difference and stands out. So, okay, so as far as the pharma industry, I want you to strategize to say the top about 20 advertising agencies that represent pharmaceutical advertising. Now, you can, of course, find these lists on Bikini Lists, Yoda Lists, or Agency Access.
Which I have all of those.
Great. So if you have access to those, you can pull the lists of those agencies, contact the art buyers and creative directors specifically that handle this, and you need to start, showcasing your content. Now, I would, of course, specifically be showing the health and pharma agencies, your more lifestyle content like this, and building the relationship with them. Now, historically, I always recommend sending print promos, but these days, no one's in the office. So print promos are kind of obsolete. They're not really worth your time. But I do recommend almost sending like a digital promo piece with content like this. And I know you've designed a few in the past that you've shown me. I would, just attach it to the bottom of an email. I would start emailing them personally. I would set up sophisticated email marketing campaigns. I would develop relationships with them on LinkedIn, on Facebook, start following them on all of their social platforms too, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, wherever they are as well, and start looking them up and start building rapport, and also commenting positively on what those creatives are doing, because you want to get them excited.
It's a wonderful thing to do that. You really get to know people that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I'm actually going to show you guys a step-by-step process, because I know I'm kind of making specific suggestions to Jane, but on our website on photographyworkshopseries.com, and I'll even put this link in the chat, but here you can even lift this directly off our website. You can take this and steal it. It's totally fine. I have a step-by-step 2022 business strategy plan. And I'd strongly encourage each and every one of you to put your goals out there. Okay, figure out what your goals are, literally copy and paste this. This is an example of one, okay? And this is a modest one. It's financial goal of $300,000 per year in 2022, which is very doable for many of you photographers, no matter where you live. I don't care if you're in San Francisco, New York, or if you're in rural Tennessee. That is very, very doable in this year, in 2022. I'm currently bidding on 2 advertising campaigns that are in the $250,000 realm as far as the overall budget, which I'll probably make about $150,000 to $175,000 per shoot right now. That's what I'm working on right now. I'm in the process. In fact, I just got an email this morning where I've got a meeting with them on Friday about another one where I'll be handling not only their photographic advertising campaign, but also for their media buy. Meaning I'm going to handle the placement of the media when it goes into distribution. So now the budget gets much, much bigger. So I'm coordinating with the media buying companies. So that means like where it gets placed on a billboard, or where it gets placed on social media, or where it's going to get placed on a broadcast commercial. And the payment for that, I take a percentage of that when I'm handling the media buy. So anyway, here's a 2022 example of a photographer's business strategy plan. And Jane, I would recommend, writing this and literally copy and paste this and fill it in with your goals. These are just some very basic examples, but it breaks it into first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. But it starts with selecting your best images, in which you've already done. You've already selected your best images, so you're already ahead of the game for your 2022 portfolio. You completed all your retouching and printing. You've updated your websites. You also have featured on Ad Edge, so you've already done that. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. I would also make sure to get your business, if it's not already, make sure your business is a Google business listing on Google, so that people like myself can write 5-star reviews for you. And everybody that I work with, and all the photographers you've met over the last year and a half at our workshops, they will also write 5-star reviews if you ask them. And that way, and then you of course ask all your clients and everybody that you work with, because you want to have a bunch of 5-star reviews. You want yourself to come up high on Google. That's helpful. You want to, and then of course, attending photographic workshops. So I know you're already signed up for, I think you mentioned Vegas in March. Designing a promo piece. Now, the promo piece, I have this as a 6x11. That's just, I use it as a leave behind when I meet with somebody. A promo piece is a great example of something that traditionally it's printed, but these days it's generally more of a digital piece, but that's okay. Have it attached to the bottom of your emails. Setting up meetings with expert panelists, ones that you've met with at our workshops. You've met with panelists at our workshops in Chicago. You've met with panelists in LA and Newport Beach. I would start following up with some of those people, because you met some top tier photography agents, people that work at magazines, major decision makers. And then also send out your promo pieces. Now, I would specifically send these as like e-promos to people. And set up a sophisticated email marketing campaign for that. And then follow up with these decision makers, making calls at least 1 day a week. And I would say this is a bare minimum, but I mean, if you can make it 2 days a week, that's even better. Making 50 calls a day and be reaching out to these people on a regular basis. And I would just say something really simple and just be like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited I got a hold of you. Your work that you did for the Target campaign was absolutely breathtaking. I'm a huge fan of your work, and I happen to be a lifestyle advertising photographer in California, and I think that I've got some incredible work I would just like to share with you that goes right in line with your Target campaign.
Wonderful.
And then share it with them while you're on the phone. Send them a link. Because of course they're busy and they're going to get off your phone. And you just want to build that relationship and put yourself on the map. And then the next time, and then of course ask the follow-up questions. So do you have any projects that you're bidding out with photographers right now? I'd love to throw my hat in the ring. And to find out if, and oftentimes they say, oh no, we already have hired a photographer, or we don't have a project going, whatever. There's always a reason. But you say, no problem. I just wanted to, touch base with you, showcase my latest work that I just shot. And if it's lifestyle, for instance, you want to show them maybe that video spread that we just showed in Chicago, where it's like lifestyle. It's perfect for something like that. Showcasing them, getting them excited about what you're doing. You shoot both video and photographic productions, and you're perfect for Target.
Wonderful.
And then follow up with them. Follow up with them every couple of weeks about what they have going on. Because a lot of times, Jane, it's not just about who you are. It's not just about who you know. It's not just about how great your photography is. A lot of it's about timing.
Yes.
Are you at the right place at the right time, getting in touch with the right decision maker? So this is just a structure of what you guys could do, and I'd recommend jumping on our website and lift it right off of our website, you guys, and and use this to your advantage. But Jane, I think that your goals are fantastic for this year. I think that they're very achievable, and I would start this marketing process. If you have, I think you attended our Marketing for Photographers virtual workshop. I would also rewatch that and get completely invigorated again and understand all the details of how to market yourself for 2022 and what you need to make happen, and really heavily devote yourself to continuously developing your portfolio, massively marketing yourself, and really putting yourself out there so that you can be rejected just like me all the time, because I love it. Now, obviously, if I land a campaign, or I, get booked on another TV show, or I have another huge opportunity, I get excited about that. Great. But I use it as leverage to land the next one. I don't sit on my laurels. Every time I shoot a campaign, even if I just bid on a campaign, I leverage that to get the next opportunity. Because clients only want to work with somebody who's got stuff going on. They don't want to work with somebody who is just like, hey, sitting around waiting for somebody to call them. Cool. So Jane, it was an absolute pleasure. Your work is incredible. And the last one I just wanted to show from this story is you created some incredible work, not just at the Vintage Airfield, but you also shot this unbelievable Mad Max story.
I love that.
Yeah, and this was absolutely breathtaking. So if we take a look at this, this was from another day at the Elite Masterclass. It was pretty incredible. All right, and in content like this, where are you going to get this? I mean, where is somebody going to even have access to a shoot like this? It's so ridiculous. It's so over the top. We shot out at this unbelievable desert location outside of Los Angeles, and just shot this unbelievable production that was just absolutely wild, intense, fierce, totally different style of shoot. And I love the story that you're telling. Also the post-production that you incorporated here.
Thank you.
The costuming, the models, the production. I mean, it's just over the top. Image after image of just absolute success. I
have so much great feedback on Instagram from these images too.
Excellent, excellent. Yep, and showcasing this unbelievable content on Insta is key. And building rapport with the people that you want to connect with so that they get excited and they see all this hot new work that's coming out. Absolutely gorgeous. Excellent. Well, definitely, Jane. Well, it was such a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much for joining us. And let's incorporate some of these strategies to make your 2022 a huge whopping success, because I want you to achieve your 2022 goals and your New Year's resolution, Jane. I want you to be extremely successful this year. And we're going to do everything we can to help you make your dreams a reality.
Thank you. You provide the most wonderful support. I just can't tell you enough. And it's been great working with you this year. I feel really lucky. Well, thank you, Jane. It was such a pleasure. Awesome. Well, take care, Jane. And I'm going to take some more of your guys' questions because we have a lot of great ones here. I really appreciate all these amazing questions that you guys are providing. Okay, I had a photographer named Hassan Mokadam. He asks, may I ask the group, how do I build a network of good photographers to work with? The vibe is always competing versus building together.
I always run into issues with payment, etc. It's just difficult. Just curious if anyone has suggestions as we continue to grow and spread our love through photography. Okay, so Hassan, I really love this question. I think this is a really great and important pivotal question. And Hassan, first of all, I want you to remember that you as a photographer are not competing with other photographers. I want you to see yourself as an ally of other photographers. Even though we might be bidding against other photographers for projects and jobs, I actually don't see photographers as my competition. I see myself as a competition. Because the problem is, it's not just about, hey, is my work gonna, outdo somebody else's work? No, it's really about, have I marketed myself properly? Have I built up my portfolio well enough? Have I gotten myself in with the right decision makers? Am I going to be considered? Am I going to be selected? It's not about like, oh, there's so much competition out there, I don't know what to do. It's how well I'm competing with myself about how well I can market myself. The other photographers, hey, if some other photographer, I get down to it and we're triple bidding and they select them over me, it's not usually because of photography. It's usually because that photographer has a personal relationship with the client, personal relationship with the celebrity, personal relationship where they're just going to meet with them and they're going to hire them directly, or they've worked with them before. That's usually what happens. Or maybe their photography is more specific to what that brand is looking for. Because it's not just about how good you are, it's about how specific your photography is to what the client is trying to achieve. It's absolutely critical. So Hassan, that has a lot to do with it. So what I recommend, I know getting involved in one of our epic photographic experiences, in fact, I would recommend you jump on a strategy call with one of our photographic consultants and you connect with them about your 2022 strategy plan. And I would recommend that you set up one of these consults. They're for free, and you can jump on with one of our photographic consultants, and we can talk about this. And they can also connect you with other photographers because they personally work with photographers every day that want to collaborate. Photographers in the photography workshop series want to collaborate, and many of them do. In fact, I mentioned a few photographers like Eric Michael Clark and Martika Garbin. They collaborate all the time. They've attended several workshops together. They throw jobs back and forth. They hire each other because sometimes the jobs get so big that they can't even do them themselves. So they hire another photographer they met at a workshop. Happens all the time. We build a community for our photographers because we want you guys to work together for success. Now, let me tackle another issue you asked, Hassan. You asked a question about, I always run into issues with payment, et cetera. It's just difficult. That's a really good question, okay? Because yeah, when it comes down to it, I'm not really sure which photography you do, Hassan, if it's commercial photography or if it's consumer photography, I'd love to hear it. But if Hassan, if you are shooting either one, whether it's consumer or commercial, you need to get paid up front. Because I talk to so many photographers that struggle with getting payments. And to me, it doesn't even make sense. Because you're being hired as a service, you're being hired to go out and do a photo shoot of somebody. If you don't get paid for that, then why are you doing it? Makes no sense to me. It's not logical. Why would you actually do a shoot and do the service without getting paid? I don't understand that thinking. Me and my entire career, I always get paid before I even show up, before I even produce the shoot, before I set up all the details, and I don't care if you're shooting portraiture or you're shooting weddings or you're shooting commercial jobs, you need to get paid up front. If it's weddings or if it's portraiture, I recommend taking 100% of the payment up front. Always, 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 under no circumstance should you do anything else. The only time in which you can get paid in addition after the fact would be if they want to order an additional print package to a portrait or a wedding album package or something like that, and that's another upsell. But make sure to sell the entire package ahead of time so you don't have to deal with that. You maybe some photographers get in with like a low shoot fee and then afterwards try to upsell them. But the problem with that is that some people take advantage of that too much, and you end up working for almost free. So I would negotiate a package up front and maybe have an option to even upsell them after that. That's how a lot of my photographers are shooting $10,000 and $15,000, $20,000 weddings. If you're shooting portraiture, definitely try to negotiate that up front. Absolutely. And if you're shooting commercial photography like I do, I get 100% of all production costs, including the models, the location fees, stylists, assistants, production crew, all the details, equipment, everything 100% upfront. And then I get my usage and creative fee, usually 50% of that upfront as well. So it's usually about 75% of the budget is paid upfront before you even start producing. And then I have the remaining 25% paid usually upon delivery of the content. And some clients, it's delivery of the final product. But that way, they have to pay you to get delivery. And that will erase all of your issues, Hassan. If you are having any issues receiving payment, if you change your policies as a photographer to get paid up front, you're not going to have issues with payment. You're just not going to, either the clients are going to do the shoot or they're not, but you're not going to have any more issues with payment. So that was what I would strongly recommend. That way you don't have to chase down clients. Never have to chase down clients. That's silly. And it'll increase how much you're earning per year. Absolutely. Hassan also asked, how do you feel about shooting celebrities? How does that ever come to happen? How can we enter that market? Well, that's a great question. I mean, I started out shooting a lot of editorial and advertising, and then I got into shooting celebrities as well. A lot of times, the best strategy for that, Hassan, is to get into developing a mind-blowing portfolio, which I strongly recommend you attend one of our fashion workshops and or lifestyle workshops that we have coming up, and develop an incredible world-class body of work with supermodels that we have cast from the biggest modeling agencies in New York, Los Angeles, Miami Beach, shooting with the best creme de la creme talent. And that will make all the difference in the world, to have mind-blowing content first. Then once you have that content, you need to then showcase it to publicists and people that own like PR agencies that manage and work with celebrities. Now, once you start doing that, if you have that content that can be backed up, that mind-blowing content, and then you showcase that to the agent representing the celebrities, you're gonna be way more likely to land that. And sometimes you might even have to do some shoots for celebrities for editorials. Basically, you're shooting for next to nothing or free. But if you're showing content like this, for instance, this was all shot at our Elite Masterclass, you're gonna have a way stronger opportunity to land those campaigns and land those opportunities to shoot with celebrities. And with celebrities, a lot of times they're going with people they know. And a lot of celebrity photographers are shit photographers. A lot of them are not that good. You'd be surprised. They just go with people that they know or people that have hustled and marketed themselves well enough. But if you're a world-class photographer and you have content that looks like this, I can tell you what, you're going to be way more likely to start landing opportunities with celebrities if you can show them that you can shoot content like this, and then you build relationships with publicists. That will make a huge difference. It's a long road, but it's something that's very, very doable. And I would love for you to start doing that. So, and even if you're just doing consumer work, it's very, very possible to do that as well, Hassan. So definitely set up a consult and let's get on and strategize about that with one of our photographic consultants. I really appreciate that. Okay, so these are excellent questions. This is another one. Tom, this is from John V. He was answering, I guess, Tom. He says, I'm 64 years old. I shoot events, portraits, headshots, and a few weddings a year. I charge way more than most of the local photographers and my clients, many nonprofits, and they all keep hiring me over and over again. See, I love that thinking, John, because that's the way that I want all of you guys to think. It's just like John B. Is the more that you charge, believe it or not, the more the clients are going to book. Because now, there's that whole perception of value. And if you're charging too little, they're not going to value as much. If you're charging more, they're going to have more of a value for you. I know that, for instance, with my castle, if I brought in for my castle to my clients and I said, you know what, this castle, it's a 49-room castle, and I'm bringing in clients that are doing $3 million weddings at this castle. And if I have clients that come to my castle and have a budget for a $3 million wedding, and I say, hey, here are 3 photographers to choose from. One photographer, they charge $2,000 for a wedding. One photographer charges $10,000 for a wedding, and one charges $20,000. Who do you think they're going to choose and select? They're not going to select the person that does a $2,000 wedding, and they might not even select the photographer that does a $10,000 wedding. They're probably going to select the photographer that does a $20,000 wedding because they equate the price with value. For the high-end market, that's what it looks like. Even for the market, and of course that's a really high level, but even if it's a client who's spending, a typical California wedding is $100,000 to $200,000 for a wedding. So say they're charging they have a $100,000 budget for a wedding. Even there, they're still not going to go super cheap on the photography. They're going to hire the photographer that they can trust. And I would recommend building relationships with high-end wedding planners, building relationships with other vendors, people even like me who own castles and venues, or say it's, major resorts like Ritz-Carlton's and Four Seasons, building relationships so you can be the approved vendor and working out deals where there's kickbacks so that the client that is, going to be more likely to work with you because say that wedding planner is recommending you to them because they are now incentivizing. You're incentivizing that wedding planner where they make a percentage of it. That way they're gonna put you forth. Because a lot of wedding planners don't really care who's the photographer. There's a lot of great photographers out there. They're just thinking about what's gonna be more beneficial for them. So think about all these strategies, guys. We're here to help you. We're here to guide you. And I want you to start thinking about what is it that you need to achieve your goals in photography. And I love these comments because these are absolutely brilliant and they keep coming in. And guys, I want you to start thinking about, the end all be all prize. Okay. So I want the great Daniel Rothschild to come on because he is Jane's mentor and guide. He is one of our absolute greatest strategists and photographic consultants that we've ever worked with. And the great Daniel Rothschild has coached hundreds and hundreds of world-class photographers to achieve greatness. And I really am grateful to have him on our team. So Dan, I would love for you to jump on, and I'd like for you to talk a little bit about achieving success and essentially how to really make things happen. To outline the steps to accomplish success in photography and get photographers going for 2022 and make all of this into a reality. So Dan, without further ado, here is the great Daniel Rothschild.
Hi, Kevin.
Hey,
wow.
Dan.
Well, thank you for the intro. Greatly appreciate it. So first of all, Happy New Year, everybody. Happy 2022. I'll bet everybody's happy that 2022 arrived and it's new. And it's as new as we each will make it. Kevin mentioned a lot of great things, Jane did, and I'm going to simplify things as I pretty much always do. Let's talk about how to make 2022 great for you. All right. So success in photography, it sounds complex, but it's really not. It's not rocket science. And Kevin always gives tons of great info of how to really make it work. And I believe to make it simple helps. And so if you take simple steps and what I'm going to go over is how do you make 2022 great for you? So if you take simple steps, you have to do these things. You may not like to hear that. When you think about doing certain things, you may go, oh my gosh, it's work, but it's worth it. You love photography. That's number one. So you might as well get the benefit and the rewards of doing it. So the steps that you have to take and follow to make success. And Jane and Kevin's conversation was so important. First is planning and definitions. So you have to make a business plan. Now, I know the word business sometimes will freak out a photographer because we're on the art side mentally, the right lowers, but you have to balance and include business with art, or you'll just be doing art for art's sake. So you have to physically write a definition like Jane has done And so I've been working with her, and she wrote this great beginning quarter definition of her plans and the details and the definitions, daily, weekly, monthly. And by writing it, it's an interesting thing. Writing your goals and your plans makes it molecular. Now, I know that sounds a little heady, but it's true. If you just let it swirl around your mind, it never lands. You write it, it becomes a molecule and physical and starts happening. So you have to write your plan in details and know that you're gonna fine tune that forever. You'll always keep advancing and fine tuning that plan, those definitions. So you have to write a plan, just like Jane did. You also have to know your target market. Who do you want to hire you? Who are you going after? Because if you don't have any idea and any focus of who am I going after, what am I going to get, it can't happen. So again, write down and start making a long list and keep adding to it. Every day you come across a new company, new advertising agency, new photographic agency, on and on, add it to the list. So know your target market, who you're going after. Make the list. You can get data from organizations like Agency Access, Bikini List, where you'll get the artistic directors' names, their email, their sometimes phone number, the creative directors, all the different people that you want to go after to talk to get them to consider hiring you. And you have to, Kevin has mentioned this ever since I've known him and I've been working with him. And it's probably one of the most important things going, and that is your portfolio. You have to, part of the challenge we all know is, well, we have clients, and that's what our portfolio is. But clients aren't professionals that are trained to present and make most incredible expressions and photos and looks and feelings and all that. So you have to have a world-class portfolio to be noticed and considered, because there's millions of photographers, and all the different companies and the creative directors and the artistic directors are receiving every day photographers. So when you send a photo, like some of the photos Kevin showed that the photographers have made, like Jane in the workshops, you put that across their desk, they're going to stop for a moment and go, whoa, who is this? Now, if they don't respond to you, that doesn't mean they don't like you. As Kevin said and Jane said, it's the timing. They may not yet, but they will down the road. So you have to just keep putting your name in front of them. So you have to have a portfolio, which is part of the work we do at the workshops that makes people get noticed photographically. The next thing is, once you have a good portfolio for marketing yourself and to present yourself and all, and you have a list of who you want to go after, there's a real important step. You have to make sure you give yourself a chance for success. And that is, you have to calendar time to market yourself. Now, I with photographers every day and help them and show them that you can start off real easy to market, like emailing or phone calling. Well, then it's kind of like a diet program. If I have to lose 50 pounds and I start off going, I got to lose 50 pounds, that isn't going to last too long. But if I think I need to lose 5 pounds, I can do that. Marketing is the same thing. If you're not into marketing, you set up a real simple goal every week. You put it in your calendar. You're going to do this for an hour. Do this, maybe 3 days a week. You work an hour on sending out your photos to the contacts you're going after. So you calendar it though. You put it in there. This is what I'm doing every week. If something changes, let's say you get hired for a photo shoot and it's during that same time you had a calendar to do your marketing. It's pretty simple. You just shift it to another day that week. You don't ignore it. So give yourself a chance for success, and put in the calendar, and part of your business plan is, I'm going to reach out to people. There's another point, and that's mental, and that is already know you're successful. Success is all really, if you get down to it, it's about learning. Life is about learning. Sometimes what you go after, you may not get, but then it opens a door and you get it later on. It's all about learning. It's all good. Kevin, I love it. I laugh when Kevin says, I love to be rejected. It's so smart because what that means is you're okay with the full process of what it takes to hit that success. If I call 10 people and one answers, okay, gosh, and I wanted to talk to 10 people, I'm going to call 100 times. It's simple math, but it's all good. It's really a numbers game to catch that one moment when someone happens to be there and they're interested in looking for someone and you call at that time and it just happens because you're focused on it, making it happen. So always know you're successful, feel it, be it, and it happens then. This next point I think is super important as well, and that is decide. Make a decision. I'll just say it how it is, that you're going to get your you know what out of the chair and do these steps it takes. Because success just doesn't arrive at the door and knock and going, hey, we want to make sure you're successful. You have to make up your mind you're going to do these steps and do the work it takes. Now, you may want to just be a great local photographer. Fantastic. But do it well. Do these steps wherever you are and whatever you're going after. So all of these steps and things I'm going over, it's what makes advancement. So it's important stuff. Now, the photography workshop series, what I love about what we do and why I do it every day is we educate, we give guidance, we give mentoring. We're there for every photographer as much as they want. That you create world-class portfolio photos. My motto and our motto is we will help you as much as you will allow us to. So there's much to share, and much as you heard Jane, she's been following the steps, things are happening, it's in action. I mean, think of, gosh, some of the great photographers that we work with, Hans J. Paul, David Giesbrecht, Mike Weiland. I can go down a long list, but the point is, you follow these steps, you're going to create as much success as you want. So, Kevin, that's my 2 cents worth.
Well, I love it, Dan, and I appreciate all those great words because you have, you mentioned a few critical things. One being, it's really about you, and it's about how much do you want to succeed? A lot of photographers, they think like, yay, it's all about, word of mouth, and people are going to call me out of the blue, and people are going to book me or whatever if they think I'm a good photographer, whatever. It doesn't work that way, guys. It doesn't work that way. And honestly, it hasn't worked that way in 20, 30 years. It's just not the way that the industry works. Even the big time world-class successful photographers, they've got hustle. They've got to market themselves. They have to build relationships, and they have to take it to the next level. So Dan, that was some brilliant advice. I really appreciate it. And I know that you're here for each and every one of your photographers, to guide them and to help them succeed and meet their New Year's resolution for 2022. So guys, if you want to jump on a photographic strategy session for 2022, just like we did with Jane Ritchie, and you want to talk with one of our team members and develop your strategy, we're offering that for free. And I'd strongly recommend it, even if you guys have done it already. I think that it's really important to come up with your 2022 strategy plan. It's really important to me personally, because I want each and every one of you to set out goals, just like we talked about and showcase on our website, where you can, lift it right off of our website and steal that and use it for yourself is totally fine with me. But I want to make sure that each and every one of you is doing the action steps that it takes to succeed photographically in your career. It's everything to me. And I encourage you to put yourself out there, to get rejected, to put yourself out there, to reach out to people, connect with people. And if you're not connecting with them, they don't know who you are. So it's almost like it doesn't even matter. You have to make sure you connect. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of messaging. I use LinkedIn really heavily, so much so that I actually have 2 people that work full time with me, communicating with decision makers on LinkedIn, building relationships. You then have to follow up with them. You have to make phone calls. You have to set up Zoom calls. You've got, I've got a Zoom call set up for Friday with this client where, like I was talking about, it's about a $250,000 project. And I've got a Zoom call set up with the client. So it's going to be myself, my producer in New York, and then the client. And we're going to be talking about the parameters of the job and bidding on the campaign. So, and, even when projects come and you bid on the job, still, they might not make a decision right away. So it's up to you to continuously follow up with them. And you kind of have to toe the line of not being like pestering, but being persistent and following up with adding value each and every time. So I'm not just asking him and reminding him something, I'm going to add value. Come up with something else that you can add to the shoot, something else that makes you special, that's going to make you stand out, that's going to make you the photographer or the director that they're going to select and choose to shoot their project, and be the person that you're their ambassador to the world. And it's you, and it's your opportunity to stand above and to become the most sought after world-class photographer. But you've got to get yourself out there. And I've been so impressed at photographers like Jane, for instance, that have achieved incredible success. We've had all kinds of awards being won this last year through our photographers, being featured in major publications like Lurzer's Archive, for instance, and being able to win awards and the One Island Awards, the Color Awards. I mean, it's really incredible. It's very impressive. And I'm proud and I'm impressed at our photographers and all of their successes, because what it means is that more people are seeing them. More people are knowing that they're out there by seeing their content over and over again. Now, for instance, in the TIFA Awards, we had, I believe this was the great Evan Siegel. He has a whole desert fashion spread of what he shot in Vegas with us, which is incredible to see this and to be featured in the TIFA Awards. Pretty incredible to see this, and I'm seeing this every day. I'm getting more and more of these emails coming in from photographers that have attended our workshops, that have attended and shot mind-blowing content at these workshops and are getting featured in major magazines and major awards. I mean, it's really incredible. And I love to see you guys succeed, because that's what you're here for. Winning awards is really helpful. Getting published is really helpful. Getting yourself out there in front of people, connecting with decision makers at ad agencies, connecting with publicists, connecting with magazines, and getting yourself out there as much as possible. That's what I'm going to encourage you guys to do, because the projects are coming in. Photographers are being booked left and right. Don't let yourself be left in the dust. I want you to take advantage of that and be the selected photographer. You should be taking advantage of that situation. But it all starts with developing your world-class photographic portfolio, just like Jane did, just like Evan did, just like many of our photographers we've touched base with and talked about. I want you to achieve greatness. And we're here to help you, guide you every step of the way. And I want you guys to set up consults and strategy sessions with us, because I'm here to make sure that we make your 2022 New Year's resolution a reality. That's what it's all about. So I hope you guys have an amazing year, and we're here to help you achieve success in your photography. That's what this is all about.